For this part of the project, you are going to start by interviewing somebody who has lived in another place. Like I mentioned, it doesn't need to necessarily be an immigrant like we think of it today. It could be anyone who has lived in another country for a year or two, or anybody who has lived in a different part of the United States with a different type of culture, like maybe living in southern Utah versus New York City would be a different culture. So something like that would also work. If you're having a hard time, reach out to me and I can give you some other options. So you'll put your interview questions here. You want to make sure that you're focusing on the four main topics of what were their push and pull factors, why did they move there, what were their living conditions and working conditions like, and how were they treated while they were there. Those are the types of questions that you'll want to make sure that you have for the interview. The next part is where you're going to be making connections. So first you're going to include a quick introduction of the person that you interviewed. How do you know them? And then what was something interesting you learned from them? If you have a picture of them or their culture, that would be great. And then this part is where you're going to be showing your understanding of the early immigrant experience. So right here in 3 to 4 sentences for each section, share what you know about the early European and Asian immigrant experience. Remember that it doesn't always overlap the European and Asian immigrants. There were some things that were a little bit different about their experiences. So make sure you're covering both the European and Asian immigrants based on their push and pull factors, living and working conditions, and how they were treated while they were here. For full points, I'm looking for at least 2 keywords and highlight those keywords, and also that you explain the keywords. Don't just mention them, but also explain what they are to show your depth of understanding of what they are. Here's a keyword bank that you can choose from. And then for each of the main topics, you'll want to make sure that at least 8 words are total. So there's four sections that you're going to be filling out, at least 2 keywords that are explained well and in depth for each section. And just make sure that you're showing enough detail that I can see that you understand the unit material well. Then this compare and connect section is where you're going to be comparing what the person you interviewed experience was to the early immigrants. You're going to find a similarity or a difference for each of the 4 sections. It's okay if their experience was different. That's understandable. We live in a different time period, but there might be some similarities and there might be some differences with what their experiences were. So just draw some sort of connection and share why or why not they were similar. Okay, let me know if you have any questions with any of that. Thanks.